Quality. We throw that word around all the time, right? We talk about a quality meal, a quality movie, a quality car, but what are we really talking about? What does quality actually mean? Well, let's dig in and really unpack this, because it's one of the most important ideas in, well, pretty much everything.
So let's just start with that. Seriously, take a moment. When you say something has quality, what do you mean? Is it that it just works? Or that it looks amazing? Maybe that it's built to last forever? The truth is, it's probably all of those things, and maybe even a few more.
Okay, so to make sure we're all on the same page, let's use this as our North Star. At its core, quality isn't just about how good something is in a vacuum. It's about how it stacks up against what we, the customers, expect it to be. If it hits the mark, great. If it goes above and beyond, now that's real quality. All right, and this is where it starts to get really cool. See, quality isn't just one big, fuzzy concept. It's actually made up of a bunch of different parts, or dimensions, that we can actually identify and even measure. Let's break them down. First up, you've got the most obvious one, performance. Plain and simple, does it do the job it was designed to do? You expect a fast car to accelerate quickly. You expect your phone to open apps without lagging. Performance is the baseline, Does it work?
But hey, doing the job once is one thing. That's where reliability comes in. It's awesome that your car started today, but are you confident it's going to start every single morning for the next 5 years? Reliability is all about performance over time. It's consistency you can count on.
Now let's shift gears completely. Quality isn't always about numbers and specs. A huge part of it is aesthetics. It's about how a product makes you feel. The sleek design of a phone, the satisfying thunk of a car door closing, the way an interface just looks clean and beautiful. This stuff is subjective, for sure, but man, is it powerful.
And finally, we get to the super technical side of things, conformance. This is all about precision. Was this thing built exactly the way the blueprint said it should be? Are all the measurements within those tiny acceptable limits called tolerances? This is quality from an engineer's point of view, sticking to the plan.
Okay, so we've got these different pieces of the quality puzzle, but how they fit together really depends on what we're looking at. See, we judge a physical product a little differently than we judge an experience or a service. They're two sides of the same quality coin, but you gotta look at them in their own way.
So let's start with a product, right? Something you can actually pick up and hold. With these, it makes sense that we're focused on the physical stuff, the things we can see, touch, and measure. And here's how that breaks down. We've got performance, which we already talked about, but then you get features, all the bells and whistles. Durability, can it take a beating? And serviceability, how easy and cheap is it to fix when it breaks? You ask these questions for any physical thing you buy. But now, let's flip that coin. When it comes to a service, there's often nothing to hold. So the whole idea of quality shifts from the object itself to the human experience. It's all about the interaction.
This image says it all, right? A clean, well-run train station. The train showing up when it says it will, that's reliability. The staff being ready and willing to help you, that's responsiveness. The quality here is baked into the experience of actually being there.
So for services, we're looking at things like tangibles, the physical environment, responsiveness, how quickly do they help you, assurance, do you trust them, do they seem like they know what they're doing, and empathy, do they actually seem to care? It's all about how you're treated.
Okay, we've got a handle on what quality is and how to measure it, but now I want to introduce you to a philosophy that pretty much flipped the entire idea of quality on its head. Get ready for the Taguchi method. This is a real game changer.
This right here is the heart of the matter. On the left, you've got the old way of thinking. It's binary. A part is either good or it's bad. As long as it's within the acceptable range, inside the goalposts, it's fine. But Taguchi's view on the right was revolutionary. He said, no. The second you deviate even a tiny bit from the perfect target, you've created a loss for everyone.
And this graph is his mic drop. The traditional view is that flat line on top. It's either good or bad, a cliff's edge. But Taguchi's quality loss function is that curve. It shows that even if a product is in spec, the farther away it gets from that perfect center target, the more it costs in the long run. Two good products are not created equal. One that's barely good enough is way worse than one that's dead-on perfect. And that leads us to this incredible idea. Just let that sink in for a second. Reduce cost by reducing variation. For ages, everyone thought making things higher quality cost more money. Taguchi came along and proved the exact opposite. By obsessing over consistency and hitting that bullseye every single time, you actually save money by reducing all the waste, all the repairs, all the unhappy customers. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a neat idea from an engineer decades ago, but why should I care? because this idea broke out of the factory and changed, well, everything.
This is the big takeaway. Now, other quality gurus like W. Edwards Deming and Joseph Juran were already talking about how quality leads to better business. Deming focused on changing the whole management culture, while Juran talked about a product's fitness for use. But what Taguchi did was give companies a concrete mathematical target. Stop worrying about just being good enough and start worrying about minimizing every tiny variation from the perfect ideal. He proved that aiming for perfection wasn't a cost center, it was the ultimate cost-saving strategy.
And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Building cars, writing code, or making coffee, the principle is exactly the same. The more consistent and precise you are, the fewer mistakes you make. And fewer mistakes always means less wasted time, less wasted money, and much, much happier customers. It's a win-win-win.
And look, that is no exaggeration. This way of thinking was a huge part of what powered the incredible rise of Japanese manufacturing. It forced companies all over the world to wake up and realize that the race to be the best wasn't about being the cheapest anymore. It was about being the best. The pursuit of quality became the pursuit of profit.
So that brings us right back to you. Now that you understand these ideas, how can you use them? In your job, in your hobbies, and the projects you work on. Because at the end of the day, this obsession with quality isn't just a business plan, it's a mindset. So here's my question for you. What's one small variation you can reduce today to make something just a little bit better?